Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stanley Parable 2, or Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, however title you want to use. Got a treat for you guys today, all new content coming up. We are starting the Reassurance Bucket endings, because I think I've gotten every single ending so far without the Reassurance Bucket, plus including the extra secret endings, I believe. I think there's one that I need to do where you need to like open up like the console commands, I think. But I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I don't know how to open the console commands. But I think to start off this episode, guys, I think we should check out the epilogue, which is where I think we will be able to find our friend from the beginning who's been talking to us, whether that's the narrator or whether it's something completely different. The person who was setting all the scroll bars and all the settings for us and had those little bit of, you know, some dialogue there for us. So let's go check out the epilogue first thing, and then we'll get to those endings. I don't know, hopefully this isn't long. I don't know, we'll see. Epilogue. Many, many years later. Uh-oh. Oh, this looks like, the ending from the skip button ending, right? How did this get here? Cool, somehow I found wood and fire. What the heck happened? There's chairs everywhere. I don't get the chairs. Oh wow, pretty. Still can't jump. Oh wow, pretty. Oh. The memory zone? With a running generator? Huh. Weird. This is cool. It's like a different game. Kinda. Cookie 9! The person who wanted the skip button. Like so many games, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable. It underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, Stanley Parable was dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinite deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve from Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise, but disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Interesting. Oh no.
Jim. Jim.
No. Oh, I can still click around. Here, oh no, it's all these figurines. The figlies. Stanley. You guys, I see I'm 18 out of 6, 19 out of 6, 20 out of 6, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. The Stanlerines or whatever. Oh my god. Hello! Oh my god, hello again. It's him. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read that what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise. What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together, we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead. Try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. Attack. Grilled circles. The Stanley Parable 3 grilled circles. The Stanley Parable 3 grilled circles. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again, with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want to have a say. I want you to have a say as well. I guess so. Let's do it. Good. Then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix that. All right there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. Okay. I am now on West Coast time, so this is PM, first off. But it is currently 9:32 p.m. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. Sorry, I'll turn my key light back on. Sorry. Oh. Stanley Parable 3, Grilled Circles. Whatever. Okay, there we go, guys. That's the epilogue, or whatever. Alright, guys. Let's start with the bucket endings, I guess. Start with the reassurance bucket here, everyone. So, we're just gonna go through the endings we already went through. This is all
his
gonna...
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Just interrupted
Stanley
me.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'll make sure nothing else is different here, everyone. Oh. Is that always there? Alright. Let's do it.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Here we go. Why would there... What? God damn it, guys. Alright, I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna go here.
Stanley
There's
clutched
too
the
much
bucket
going
tightly
on.
to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay. Remember, we did one ending with the bucket. It was with the good ending. The good ending from the mind control facility.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Wait, why is this table still like cut open in the middle? It's still kind of screwed up. We can't go into the broom closet. We already heard that dialogue anyway, so yeah, there you go. Let's
Coming
go.
to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Should we do that? But Stanley just couldn't do it.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that.
Yeah.
And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Why?
All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy?
Am
he
I
asked
crazy?
the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized,
I'm crazy.
this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
No.
Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might
No.
experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
It's gone.
And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh,
No.
gracious,
No.
he exclaimed.
Oh, gracious.
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad.
No.
Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
No.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Oh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security,
What?
and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
So in this world, everyone has a bucket, except Stanley, or at least he forgot his or something.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
All right.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Still in the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
New memory zone? What? That's different. All right. Oh, we could. Nah. Oh, we could do this.
Stepping in.
Hey, look at that. Let's go down here. Come on, bucket. Bucket, you and I will escape. Or something. It's gonna be different, though. Something's gonna change. Something's gonna change. I guess we'll just do all the left door endings first, right? Oh, hello. Beep. Boo. You are now leaving. I always thought this was such an interesting ending, actually. I didn't think it was that cool. I mean, you just walk to an escape pod. But it's kind of cool because it gives you, like, a scope of the building for real. Like, we are on floor 754. And the escape pod bay is at 760. Whether that's the top or not, we don't know for sure. But, wow, what a gigantic complex this is. If it even is real, you know what I mean? Now, so far, everything is the same so far. But where is it going to go wrong? I have the bucket. I wonder what's going to happen. We learned that in the happy ending, right, that we actually can escape with the bucket. The first ending we did with the bucket, because the building doesn't want the bucket to leave. I wonder if this will be like a similar case. Trying doors and stuff too to see escape pod launch bay. Escape. That was very weird that he stroked it, but how sad. I never thought I would actually feel sad about that, but I did
All
somehow.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The bucket's gone. How do I get the bucket back? It's gone. It's actually gone. Oh no. I guess I could do this again. Where's the bucket? I need to begin the game again.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did,
Oh.
it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
So, replacement bucket?
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
I'm sorry.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
All right, let's do this part for real now.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
Yes.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
For sure. All right. We can go back up, right? Could we do that ending again? We can do that ending again.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Oh, great. Well, let's try pressing number 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
No, 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 said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
My gosh.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? "Ah," said Stanley. "I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart." He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's.
Oh.
And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Oh.
This was it.
Yes.
One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one. There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Someone cry over there. Oh, that was sad. That was sad too.